Hello, welcome back to another tutorial. Today's tutorial is going to be a talk through one, so we're just going to jump into it. I'm going to actually do my eyes first, which is something that I don't usually do. I usually always do my base first. I'm going to do my eyes first. You'll see why when I'm doing it. I am going to just do my forehead section because I want to do my brows, and I find that if I do my brows first and then I try to do my foundation around it, it's just really annoying. So I'm going to just do that bit first. So I'm just taking a little bit of primer. I'm using the Nars Soft Matte Primer, which I really like. I recently started to use more like mattifying, blurring primers rather than hydrating ones, and I just found that it just works better for my skin. My skin isn't oily, but it's not as dry as it used to be. It still does get dry, but I do find that that my skin gets quite oily throughout the day. So I've noticed that by using more of a mattifying primer, it seems to help kind of hold the shine off a little bit, which I usually don't mind my skin getting a little bit shiny because I like a dewy skin, but it was kind of getting to a point where it was a little bit too much. I'm just going in with a little bit of foundation. I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills one. This is the shade 220N. So I'm just doing it in my forehead section. I'm going to take a small bit of my powder. This is the Huda Beauty one. And just very lightly go over this. And then I like to just kind of dust it over my brows too. I'm just going to use my brow gel first just to comb my brows and keep them in place. I'm just going to fill them in now with my brow pencil. This is the Makeup Forever Brow Definer. The shade is Deep Blonde. So today I want to do just like a smoky, defined, winged out look. It's kind of just what I'm feeling today, so we're going with it. Taking this cream shadow stick from Nars. This is in the shade Dark Angel. So I'm just going to get this right on along the outer part of my lash line. Just add a little wing. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to go in with a brush now. And we're going to blend that and soften it and just create a shape that we want. Kind of bringing it up all over the lid as well. And then winging it out. So it doesn't have to be perfectly neat. Usually what I do is I'll just kind of get my fingers and rub it along and just tidy up anywhere that you feel like it looks off. And that's why I did this without makeup, just so you can see. Then you're not going in having to fix up your makeup underneath. You can go in and just kind of mess around with your eye look. Because I'm going to put shadow on top of this, so it's going to get a little bit messier before it gets neater. By the way, I didn't put any eye primer down. I just had a little bit of concealer on a brush that I wiped over my lid. I find that when I use an eye primer and then I go in with a cream shadow, the primer mattifies the eye too much and you're not able to move the creamy product around. So that's why I skip the eye primer for any type of eye base when I'm doing this type of a look. Now I'm going to go in with this shadow from Colourpop. It's one of their Super Shock shadows. It's called Bay. Now I dropped this and then my cat dropped this. So it's kind of like this bluey, purpley, metallic shade. So I'm just going in with my finger and I am just going over this, pressing it on. I'm just going to grab a fluffy brush and just go along the edges of the top. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to tidy this up again. I was doing a clear out of some of my makeup drawers and I found this shadow from Bobbi Brown. So it's this gorgeous like gold sparkly shadow. It's called Luxe Eyeshadow Rich Sparkle in the shade Sunflare. Again, I'm just going to go in with my finger and I'm going to go over this. So I'm just tidying this up with a wipe. Just gonna take some concealer. I just like to use this creamy one. This is one from Nars. And I just get some on a flat brush and then just on the back of my hand, just kind of wipe off the excess. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go along I'm gonna go along this here just so I can sharpen the top of this wing. You can keep it smoky if you want. I'm just gonna define it a little bit more. I do like it just kind of blown out as well, but just for this look, I'm just gonna do it sharper. I'm gonna go and finish the rest of my eyes now in a minute. I'm just gonna get my base down first. So I'm just starting with the primer. I'll link my skincare that I used prior to this down below. It's just literally a serum and my SPF moisturizer. That's all I use today. I like to keep my skincare simple because I found that I'm just going in with the Flawless filter by Charlotte Tilbury for some glow. I found that when I was using too many steps of my skincare, it was just wreaking havoc on my skin. I was constantly breaking out. It was just too much and too many products. So I found that by really minimizing what I use, it has made such a difference to my skin, or it's helped anyway. I am going to do a skincare video. I'll add it in one of my vlogs very soon. And now back into the same foundation. I haven't used this foundation in ages. I actually forgot about it, but it's a really nice foundation. It's a nice medium coverage, nice dewy finish. Going in with my good old trusty Huda Beauty Tantor. Sorry, I know like I use a lot of the same products over and over, but I just find products that I like and that work for me, so I just kind of use them over and over again. I did my dermaplaning the other day and I think I missed some little bits of hair, so if around my hairline it looks a little bit weird, it's just because I missed some bits of hair and now that makeup is sticking in that hair. Concealer, I'm going to use that Fenty concealer. This is the shade 200. I'm going to add a little bit just underneath here. Do a little tip on the nose. I'm just lightly going along that edge there to tidy up that line. So I'm going to take some of the Huda Beauty powder and just a little bit on this flat fluffy brush. This brush, by the way, is, the name has wore off it. I think, if I remember correctly, this was a brand called Callumberry, which were an Irish brand. And I have these a very long time and they're still really soft. And I love this brush for doing my powder. If I can find it online, I'll link it. And then because I want to keep my skin nice and glowy, I am going to go in with this palette from Hourglass. And I'm taking this shade here. So it just gives like a really nice glow to the skin. If you're very oily, you will probably not be into this powder, but I love a good glowy skin. So I like the first powder that I use to set and keep everything in place, and then just kind of put some of this on top just to give that nice sheen to the skin. I'm going to use the Rare Beauty blush. This is in the shade Bliss. I'm just going to put some onto the back of my hand, and I'm just going to get some on a fluffy brush. So I like to put my cream blush on like after I have set everything, and I just use a tapping motion, so you're just sitting it on top. If you start rubbing it, then you're going to cause all sorts of problems for yourself. So just kind of press it on. And the reason why I like to do this after is because I find that when I do my blush and then I powder on top, it takes away from my blush. I found that by just doing it after everything has set, it just works so much better and you can actually see the blush. So I'm just taking a tiny amount of the stick shadow onto the brush, and I'm applying some of that just on the lower corner of the eye. And just, there's a little gap in that wing there. I'm just filling in very lightly. I just find that by adding just a little bit onto the lower part of the eye, it just pulls it together just a little bit more, because I feel like it's just there's a little bit of a disconnect here, whereas this just kind of pulls it together. So I'm going to highlight my skin using the Fenty liquid highlight. Again, I put some on the back of my hand, and I'm just going to use the same brush I used for my blush. Just get some on there and just go and highlight This is so glowy. I'm also gonna just put some in the inner corners. This lip liner is from Nabla. It's their nude number 1. I'm just gonna add a bit of gloss. This is actually the KKW Beauty, which I don't even think you can get anymore. So that is it for today's tutorial. I hope you liked the look. I hope it was helpful. Yeah, that is pretty much it for today. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.